As the years go by and the more that I mature as a person, I realize more and more just how ignorant people can be. Whether it's always putting in their 2 cents when you never ask them, doubting you and your abilities to achieve all your dreams, or flat out shaming you for wanting to be something greater. It drives me up a fucking wall. Now, I don't know if it stems from a place of insecurity, ego, or all the above, but I seriously struggle to understand why people even go down that route to begin with. Like, I can get over the fact that people are just gonna be shitty from time to time. They could be having a bad day, they're just not feeling it, whatever. It happens to the best of us. But the one thing that I've always had a low tolerance for is just flat out putting down others. Like, I'm gonna be in my mid 20s now, and I've achieved so much for myself over these last 5 years, and I'm proud of it. I managed to save up for and buy my own house at 20. I went from being a severely obese kid who got bullied for being fat into an avid lifter with a body type he's always wanted. And best of all, I went from thinking that I was going to die alone to now celebrating my 3 year anniversary with a fiance that I love with all my heart. Now, I don't say this to stroke my own ego, but rather tell you that at every single step of the way, I've had nothing but criticism come my way from people who did nothing but hate on me. It's exhausting, but I refuse to let them win because it hurts me so much when I see other people fall victim to their traps and somehow end up even more jaded than the ones who were spewing all the hate to begin with. Fuck them, you can achieve anything you set your mind to despite what they all say. And today I'm going to tell you how you can do just that, so let's get into this. Alright, so like I just said, I've encountered my fair share of toxicity, from work, ex-friends and partners, and even family to a degree. I've always struggled to understand the why they know better than me, why they feel like they have a say in my goals, and why they don't respect my desire to be a person that others can look up to. Maybe I was too sensitive, maybe they're right, maybe I'm too far in over my head. I've had each and every one of these thoughts, but I eventually came to realize something. The same people who are the most prone to putting down others are also the same ones that have the least going for them, especially when it comes to their character. Like, why is it that the people I've always looked up to in this life, coincidentally the most supportive ones? Why are they the most successful ones? If the people that give me their toxic 2 cents all the time know better than me, then why are they the ones that are so behind in this life? You wanna know why? It's because it's all a fucking front. They're fake, and there's an ever growing emptiness that continues to grow inside them that they can no longer control. At the end of the day, the hollowness won in their souls, and in a desperate attempt to feel in control for once in their lives, they decided to put you down. It's why bullying often stems from rough childhoods or trauma. It's because they have no sense of purpose or no sense of any means to fucking cope with all of their fucking pain and trauma. Half the time, they're not even aware of it either. They do nothing but hide from their problems, and their self esteem is so low that they need every crumb possible to raise it, even if it involves hurting you. If I make everybody think that this kid is brain dead, then they won't think that I'm the dumbest one in the room anymore. If I turn him into the punching bag, I won't be the butt of the jokes. Let me do to him what others did to me. It's sad when you realize that deep down, these people are hurting, but instead they chose to go down the wrong route to deal with their pain. They chose to inflict it on others instead, and it's scary because if one person decided to go down that route, what's stopping everybody else from doing the same exact thing? Next thing you know, we have a society full of toxicity that perpetuates more pain and suffering instead of encouragement and self development. And when you look at it, it's really just a disease, and it's a disease that some people outright refuse to treat. I experienced this the most when I was growing up. I knew for the longest time that I wanted to be somebody who was able to make something of himself. I wanted a body I could be proud of, I wanted the bullying to stop, and above everything else, I wanted an escape. Now, during that period in my life, I was obese, had virtually zero self worth, let alone many positive role models to point me towards a good direction. My mom was regularly strung out on pills and booze, and my dad was spending virtually all of his time trying to support the crumbling household around us. The environment that I was in meant that we barely were scraping by, and all that stress got to me. I was always so afraid of people judging me all the time because of the fact that I could only afford to wear the same 2 to 3 outfits that continued to gather more and more holes. Insecure about the fact that I allowed myself to gain as much weight as I did because food was the only escape that I had, or that I had virtually zero clue how to fit in because I shut myself away from everyone else because of that same fear. Now, throughout school, people ended up latching on to that. I used to get shit on for my weight all the time, and it was flat out isolating. I got called pretty much everything under the sun by people I thought were my friends, and it got to me. Because of that, I averaged a 1.7 GPA because everything felt so hopeless and I couldn't fucking deal with the situation I was in. And every time I felt like I could finally crawl out, I get told a stupid comment that pushed me back to where I was before. I think there's a certain point where you genuinely can't sink any lower, and that's how it felt for me. I remember it got to its boiling point when I realized that being fat was pretty much all I was known for. Enough was enough, and I realized that it was never going to stop the longer I stayed in that situation. I realized that if they weren't going to believe in me, then I had to be the one to believe in myself. Now, after that realization, over the next 5 months, I ended up losing over 40 pounds. Now, when I came back, those same motherfuckers that ragged on me the most were suddenly acting buddy-buddy with me, congratulating me on the weight loss. Everyone seemingly forgot about the fact that they were treating me like shit for years, and they forgot about all the fucked up things they told me straight to my face. And when I finally got myself into a position where I could make them eat their own words, they acted oblivious. Even into my adult life too, this sort of thing still continues to happen, and over the pettiest things as well. When I told my coworkers I wanted to buy a house, their first thought wasn't, I respect the ambition, it was calling me naive and stupid. Yet when I signed that deed at 20, I got told how impressive it was from them. When I told people that I wanted to dedicate my life to my fiance and that casual relationships weren't for me, you know what the biggest response was? You're too young. Don't you want to explore? Why don't you spend your 20s having fun instead? But what if it doesn't work out? Yeah, fuck you. But here's the one that sticks out to me the most. It's actually with my sister. It's one thing to have people shit on you, but when someone you care about is on the receiving end of that, I don't think I can express how much it angers me. To give you some background, my little sister has an insane desire to be the best person she can possibly be. This desire eventually led her to joining the Navy and enrolling in a special warfare program that was notoriously difficult for men, let alone a woman who was 4'10 and 120 pounds soaking wet. I've never once doubted her, and above all else, I made it very clear that I'm a proud brother. But that didn't stop from other people from shitting on her. When I inevitably bragged about her, one of the most common responses that I heard was doubt. Are you sure she's gonna make it through? Do you know how many women even make it through Special Forces selection? I hate to break it to you, but she won't pass. I've heard so much of that bullshit, and my response has always been the same exact thing. It has been, I'm positive, and when I see her graduate, I'm going to tell you what she did to your face. Now, so far she's graduated boot camp and was recognized for being one of the top sailors in her entire division. She graduates her program in a month and maintains her position despite everybody dropping out around her. She's still left standing, yet those same people that thought she'd fall out in the first week sit there eating their own words. These people act like they know your capabilities better than you do. They don't fucking know you at the end of the day, and they don't understand how much grit you got buried in your soul. I've dealt with the same exact thing throughout my journey in the military as well, and that's why I realized more than anything. If I listened to any of them, I wouldn't have achieved anything for myself, and I would have been just as miserable as they are. There's no better feeling than making them eat their own words. I talk about some of these broad experiences to prove one point and one point alone. For every bit of success I have achieved from my ambitions, I have had infinitely more people attempt to convince me to let it go than support me through it. Don't let it go. Because when you do, not only do you let them win, but you fail yourself every single time. I'm at the point now where I surround myself with very few people because of that. Because those I involve myself with support me with all my heart. My fiance, my siblings, my dear friends, and even you guys to a degree as well. You will have infinitely more doubters than supporters, but that doesn't mean that great people still don't exist. It's just up to you to vet out all that garbage and trash. Now, with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and leave you with this quote that resonated with me. It's from somebody who encapsulates what it means to never quit, and they put it this way. We live in a world with a lot of insecure and jealous people. Some of them are our best friends, they are blood relatives, and failure terrifies them, so does our success. Because when we transcend what we once thought was possible, push our limits, and become more, our light reflects off all the walls they built up around them. Your light enables them to see the contours of their own prison, their own self-limitations. But if they truly are the great people you always believed them to be, their jealousy will evolve, and soon their imagination might hop its fence, and it will be their turn to change for the better. That comes from David Goggins. Push past your limits and let them see the light of your success. Maybe then they'll realize their errors. But hey, that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll look forward to the next one. As always, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.